If you go listen to the interview that Floyd Mayweather did on FightHype.com, where the video is titled Floyd Mayweather Breaks Down the Terrence Bud Crawford and Errol Spence Situation, if you go in and you listen to this interview, you'll find that Floyd Mayweather doesn't say anything specific about Terrence Bud Crawford and Errol Spence. What he does in that interview is he goes on to talk about his career and how he has maneuvered through the game, and how he worked with Jay Prince earlier in his career, and how he got with Al Haymon, and how him and Al Haymon partner up, and basically in a nutshell how Al Haymon is like a second father to him. And he talks about that, you know, he didn't get to where he's at in the boxing world by not knowing what he's doing. And he also goes on to say that fighters can say whatever they want. You don't have to be signed under Mayweather Promotions to be signed under Floyd Mayweather. And he's basically saying in a nutshell that if you work for Al Haymon, and if you're signed under Al Haymon, then you work and you are also signed up under me, because we're business partners. And you need the two of us to basically make the magic that we make happen go on in boxing. And when you listen to him go on about his career and the moves that he has made, but yet they labeled a video talking about Floyd Mayweather breaks down Terrence Bud Crawford and Errol Spence situation, you get the roundabout feeling in a nutshell, and it leaves you with no conclusion but the obvious, that he's talking to Errol Spence. Now, if you haven't heard the interview, then some of this is going to maybe go over your head. But for those that have listened to the interview, there's no way that he's not talking to Errol Spence. And what it sounds like, the way he was wording it, the way he was telling his story, it sounds like Errol Spence has some problem with Floyd Mayweather's involvement in this fight. That's the conclusion that he leads you to once you listen to this interview, and it's very clear. And basically what it seems like is, as far as Errol Spence or whatever, they don't want, I don't know, Floyd Mayweather's involvement or input on how to get this fight done and what we should do for the fight. And you can basically figure that out by certain tweets that Errol Spence has put out, talk about basically, you know, nobody's over my career but Al Haymon, and I'll be working with him since Blase Splee. You know, the same kind of remnants stuff that you hear Gervonta Tank Davis says. But Floyd Mayweather goes on Fight Hype and basically say, you know, you guys can say what you want, but you guys work for me, and you may not want me involved, but obviously if you look at my career and if you look at what I've done with Gervonta Tank Davis, it's obvious I know what I'm doing. So basically what Floyd is saying is these guys need to step back and let Floyd does what he does, because as far as the sport of boxing goes, he knows what he's doing by being one of the highest paid fighters in sports and in boxing, and holding the pay-per-view records in boxing, and having one of the biggest stars in boxing right now, regardless of not having belts. He's basically saying, like, you know, you got to take my word for it at this point. But when you listen to the interview, it's obvious that he's G-checking Errol Spence, telling him, look, I know what I'm doing. I don't know why you over here tripping, but you need to follow my lead, because look where I got Gervonta Davis. Look what I did with myself. I've been working with Al. Me and Al Haymon, we talk every day. So there's no move that you're going to make that doesn't involve me. So you can turn your nose up at me being involved. You can turn your nose up at basically the suggestions I make or the moves that I want to make. But at the end of the day, if you work for Al Haymon, you work for me. And that's basically what you get from that entire so-called interview of him breaking something down. Because how could you say you're there to break down the Errol Spence and Terrence Bud Crawford situation, and you do nothing but talk about your career and the moves that you have made, and how that you didn't get to where you at by being dumb or not knowing how to maneuver in boxing, and these fighters or whoever want to talk about, you know, PVC or whatever, nothing gets done without passing my eyes and ears first. You know, so he's not only talking to, the boxing critics and the people outside of Mayweather Promotions who talk like they got the inside, because remember, it was Floyd the one that cleared it up saying, yo, this is not true, that's not true. So he's addressing them, and he's also addressing the fighters, thinking that basically that they're not working or working for Floyd Mayweather. Now, being the whole situation, Terrence Bud Crawford and Errol Spence, when he says something like that, who is he talking to? Because he's definitely not talking to Terrence Bud Crawford. So he's obviously talking about somebody within the stable. And it just paints the picture that they have a problem with Floyd Mayweather being involved in general. So that seems to be the problem when it comes to the whole Errol Spence and Terrence Bud Crawford situation, besides the money. But it's not really a money issue, because if you have $55 million to throw at Canelo Alvarez, you definitely have $20 million to put up for Terrence Bud Crawford and Errol Spence. It's just, who do they feel like funding that kind of fight with that kind of demographic back behind it? Even though that's another video for another day. Basically what it is when it comes to Floyd, when Fight Hype puts out a video talking about Floyd Mayweather breaking down the Terrence Bud Crawford Errol Spence situation, and the only thing he talks about is his career, his moves, and how he has such a good relationship with Haymon, he's basically talking to Errol Spence. And that's all it is to it. Basically saying, you can say what you want, but my hand's in the pot anyway, and I know what I'm doing. That's all I got for now. Don't forget to check out the Rising Gloves trailer. Bruce Vane, I'm out.